Hi, class. Welcome to week 2 of Principles of Coaching. This week we're going to go over our philosophy, and I think it's really important to think about and get down on paper. What your philosophy is. I think that's really important because that's going to lead and guide you as a coach as you're going throughout a season and as your players are testing you and it's going to be really important that you have a clear philosophy that you can lean on in difficult times throughout the season. So we gave you kind of 7 questions that can lead and guide you as you're writing this paper this week. And I'm going to kind of go through those and just kind of expand onto those and kind of give you my thoughts a little bit to help you. So question 1, coaching as a profession, why are you doing this? So really important to think about why you're coaching the sport that you coach. And that if you look at question 2 there, kind of similar type thing, why do you love the game? Why do you love the sport that you coach? So for me, I believe that with basketball that I can use basketball as a tool to advance the gospel of Christ and also teach valuable life lessons through the game of basketball. So, I love getting to be in our practices and we make practice really hard so that in the game, hopefully it's easier, but you can really see the character of your athletes come out when things get really hard during practice. And I really love that about coaching. And then you can, whether it's diving into with the player during practice or after practice with a specific player, reflecting on that. So those 2 questions really important to think about. Why are you doing what you do, and why do you love the sport that you coach? Question 3. Your athletes, what are your expectations for them? This one's really key, and it's really key as a leader, either as a leader of a company or in this case as a head coach. You have to set really clear expectations for your team or for your organization. It's important to have rules and guidelines to share those clearly with your team so that they know, and then it's going to be really important to hold the line. So for basketball and for us, our practices start in September, and we'll have some team meetings early on to kind of go over our expectations. But every year, September, October, we have a couple players that are going to test those rules and guidelines that we put in, whether it's we want you guys at practice every day 5 minutes early. Well, we got guys strolling in 4 minutes early. What are you going to do? Are you going to hold the line? Or, some things to think about. What if it's your best player strolling in 2 minutes before practice and you said you needed them to be there 5 minutes before practice? Are you going to treat your best player the same as you're going to treat your 15th player? In a basketball situation or whatever that is, are you going to treat everyone the same? And I think it's really important that you do. I think it's really important early on to really hold the line and to have clear expectations, because if you don't, it's going to come back to bite you later in the season when you're in the heat of a playoff run or whatever that is, and you got guys still stretching the rules. Number 4, practice. Really important, for you to think about what you want your practices to look like. Coach K in his book, Leading with the Heart, I really recommend this for any coach. He says really simply, play hard, play smart, play together. That's what he wants to keep growing on every practice. For my practices, I want to go in fully prepared for each practice, as prepared as I can, because that's going to give me confidence as I'm coaching. And I want to make practice harder than the game. So I want to have our guys doing game drills and rep those over and over so that when the game comes, hopefully it's easier for them. Coach K in this book says, go in fully prepared for every practice, create a lesson plan, but stay flexible. Use it only as a guide. There's going to be things in practice that are going to happen that you're not prepared for, and you got to stay flexible when those things happen. Number 5, most important thing the athletes get from this experience. What do you want the finished product to look like? So for us at the college level, we want better husbands, better fathers, better community members when they're done. We want them to graduate with a degree and go on to be better husbands, fathers, and community members. So that's kind of our goal of what we want a finished product to look like. The role character will play in your coaching. What life lessons can you teach through your sport? And I think there's, tons of life lessons that can be learned through, many different sports that we coach. Just some to think about. Timeliness I think is really important. When our guys graduate and get a job, I want them to be on time because they learn that with us. I want them to learn grit. I want them to learn integrity. Not cutting corners. It goes back to your expectations. Are you going to hold the line? If you see one of your best players, you're doing sprints up and down. You see one of your best players misses a line by this much. Are you going to hold him accountable to that? Knowing that he might get really mad at you, knowing that, he might cause a scene, whatever that may be. So really important to think about the role character will play in your coaching. And then your Christian faith. What does it look like today to be a Christian coach in your sport? Oftentimes, especially in basketball, coaches are going to scream and yell and degrade players. And I don't think that you need to do that. There might be a time to raise your voice, but I don't think you need to degrade anybody. And I think as a Christian, you shouldn't be doing that. You need to be setting the line, holding your expectations, but you need to be building up as much as you possibly can. And think about, as you're coaching, think about what would Jesus have me do in this situation? So really important to think about your Christian faith and how you're going to implement that into your coaching. So I think this is a great exercise. Yeah, it's a paper, but really good to get down and then to save this as you continue on in coaching, whatever level you're coaching, whether it's youth, whether it's high school, college, professional. Really important to have a philosophy down. And this, I think this would be a great exercise for you guys. So enjoy doing that this week and look